Ladies and gentlemen, the following is scheduled for one fall. It is time for That Way Cool Wrestling Show! Hello everybody and welcome back to the That Way Cool Wrestling Show. My name is Danny J along with Charles Gemini Gregory, Mad Mark Lindsay,
hey
and
now.
Joining us once again, Marty the Corpse O'Mara. I was going to say O'Mara. Marty, once again, thanks for joining us again. He's filling in for the LeGrand Onslaught Jackson, who's on assignment this week again.
Is he getting out on good behavior?
Sorry. I send people out on like wild goose chases just so I can have room in the studio.
You go over to Jersey again?
But we got a pretty big show today. We're going to talk about the state of the wrestling union. And what we mean by that is there's a lot going on between in the studio. There's a lot going on right now. You wouldn't understand. But
Marty can hardly contain himself.
He can hardly contain himself. Look, he left. He left the studio. We have a lot of fun on this show, I ain't gonna lie. If you want to check out the show, by the way, go to thatwaycoolwrestlingshow.com. You can also go to Facebook on That Way Cool Wrestling Show. We're also found on YouTube at DJB Productions and on SoundCloud. You can just look up at soundcloud.com, look up That Way Cool Wrestling Show. We also post it all over Facebook, so you'll be able to hear these shows and check them out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the state of the wrestling union. There's a lot going on in wrestling today, including, look at that, and we're on Facebook Live. Is this Facebook Live, or are you just taking a video of me?
No, it's Facebook Live.
See,
did he push the record button?
Like an 80,
Because the last show that we did, some idiot didn't push it.
Didn't push record, right?
Sorry, Mark.
Yes.
I didn't mean to use your name, Mark.
Okay.
Mark.
I think somebody else is going to be on an assignment next week.
And we don't need a host. I got it.
Yeah, you got it. You're good. Good. I need a vacation.
Agreed.
I need a vacation. But yeah, there's a lot going on in wrestling in general. And one big one I want to talk about would be the NWA, National Wrestling Alliance, which we all know, if you haven't already heard, Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan had purchased not just one fraction of it, but he bought the entire NWA.
I like this move.
It was a big, ballsy move coming out of TNA, especially losing money. I mean, I think he got paid back what was owed to him, because I think Anthem Sports paid him back what was owed by the Carters to him, because he loaned TNA a lot of money for a lot of different things.
He was the sole reason why I think the last Bound for Glory went through.
I think so, yes.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He
Right.
actually fronted for everything and then was not getting a return. And then I think
Right.
Anthem took care of it when they came in.
But wasn't he also going out to the library? Didn't he want the library for putting out the money?
Which is what Vince wants the library.
he wanted the
So
library.
back when WCW,
Smart, though.
back when WCW was for sale, I don't know if it was Hogan or Savage or one of the two wanted to buy WCW just for the library.
They wanted the library.
They saw the value in all the DVD and all the classic content, and of course, one of my favorites, Jim Cornette. The famous story is he made friends with one of the guys at the the janitors at the TBS studios.
Right.
That they would throw out all the old wrestling reel tapes from the NWA in the early 80s. And he said, hey, when you throw those out, let me know. And Jim Cornette would go to the dumpster, pull out these reels, and he made some money selling them, on the internet. I mean, Jim Cornette has a cult following, so...
Well, a lot of stars trusted Jim above anybody else.
Oh, of course. Well, yeah.
When I was filming, when I was doing production and for shows, and I was working with people like Candido and Sonny, and I was working with other people, they were always pounding me. Hey, Dan, can you do a tape for us for Cornette? Everybody wanted a tape for Cornette because he was the mover and the shaker back then. It was like 99, 2000. He was really, really someone that was getting people work. And so that makes a lot of sense. Now, the big thing is not so much that Corgan bought the NWA. I thought that in itself was just a big, big move. Like, wow, you bought the entire NWA. Now, you have to understand that the National Wrestling Alliance, unlike what we saw with Jim Crockett Promotion and stuff like that, but it was apparent back then too, it's a franchise.
Yep.
You buy in, you rent the license, you're under the NWA moniker. TNA did it. That's how they got started. And go from there until you get yourself your enough backing where you can leave the NWA. But the NWA itself, like I said, it's a big franchise, and he bought the entire thing. So all franchisees are going through him. Now, big news that's happening right now is that I heard, it was around last week or so, there was an article, and I haven't heard much else about it, is that there was news that he will not be renewing any licenses coming up on the renewal date as of this year.
This is huge.
This is a huge thing, and some people are like, well, doesn't that mean he's shutting down? No, he's not shutting down anything. Nobody's going to buy the NWA and then just shut it down. He's doing something big. The best thing I can equate it to is that when you live in an apartment building and the apartment gets sold to a new realtor and they evict everybody in the place, renovate everything, and then they come back and they re-rent under maybe new money or with a new product altogether. And I think he's trying to, because he's been said to say that he would like to be at least the number 2 guy out there. And it's wise to sit there and say, I'm not going to be the number 1, because you're not going to compete with WWE at this point. No one is. No one is. So because unless Ted Turner gets back into it, that's the only way I think somebody could. And that's not happening. So you're talking about the best you can shoot for is number 2. And not for nothing, that's a great spot to be in, because you're going to be the other guy that they're watching when they're not watching WWE. You know what I mean? Right now, for lack of a better scenario, they're watching GFW.
Nobody's
TNA.
watching GFW.
They are. You're not, because you're a sheep, I understand.
Nope.
But if you're a wrestling fan, you're watching wrestling, no matter what it is. I've watched some really
3 months in
crappy
the can,
wrestling.
we're watching wrestling.
I've watched some really crappy wrestling just because I'm a wrestling fan.
We all, yeah.
Okay.
We went through 1993. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we all did. We all did that. What was that? The Oddities? What?
We got Frankie Frizzo watching, by the way.
We got
Frankie Frizzo.
Frankie Frizzo. You know what?
Watching.
I watched. That's good that he's watching, because we're on Facebook Live right now when this is being recorded.
We just said the word oddity. Hey, Frankie.
Oddity. Look at that. Cue Frankie. I wrestled Frankie. I actually didn't wrestle Frankie. I wrestled Vinny Hoffa, and Frankie got involved in my match, and I ended up hurting my shoulder for 6 months. So thank you for watching.
Vinny Hoffa, by the way, I tore my rotator cuff wrestling Vinny Hoffa.
It seems like everybody gets hurt wrestling Vinny Hoffa. I don't know why that is. God bless him.
He would look at you and hurt you because his face was so damn ugly. But,
well, bringing it back on track.
Bring it back on track. Thank you, LeGrand.
The NWA is 3 letters. So the NWA being, what it meant to us as kids growing up, Danny and Charles, know, it's not obviously what it is now. But the NWA was run almost like, dare I say, like a mob, where you had politics played a big part.
It's all about territories.
You had territories. Yes, my territory is better than yours.
And not for nothing, I see territories coming back.
I hope that's not the case.
I really do.
I don't know if you guys watch fucking.
Which one?
Excuse my language, by the way. Vince Russo up at Smoky Mountain.
Right.
Good stuff.
There you go.
Check it out. Check out Smoky Mountain.
And
NWA, right?
And what's the one in Vegas?
They're bringing back territories. That's his main goal. Is
but
what's the one in Vegas?
Bring back wrestling.
But it's so hard to bring back territories.
You know what I'm talking about.
Because
the one that Shane Douglas is doing?
No. It's
there's NWA Hollywood, there's Wildside.
There's NWA, but I'm saying outside of NWA, there's a Vegas promotion that's pretty big.
Wildside Mid-South?
And I can't think of it, but it's you know what I'm talking about, right? It's not NWA, but it's a Vegas promotion, and they're in probably tri-state area, I'm assuming. But the wrestling is really good. They got money backing them. It's
I think they're backed by one of the casinos, aren't they?
More than likely, I think so. And it's once again, it's something to bring back. When you have territory wrestling, it just gave you more to watch. They don't have to be on the level of WWE, but for NWA to do what they're doing and to be the number 2 guy. Now, granted, NWA was global back then too, even when we had territories. But he's really got to be a global entity in order to try and compete.
Is it Future Stars?
No. It's not. It sounds like Progress. It's like some kind of word like that.
Paradigm Pro Wrestling.
Paradigm Pro Wrestling. There you go. Thank you very much. Great show, by the way. If you get a chance to watch, you can watch it on YouTube and stuff like that. Paradigm Pro Wrestling. They put on a great show. But the NWA really has to be a global presence. So you're talking. There's got to be Japan. There's got to be the UK. GFW is actually doing that right now through the UK. They did some big shows in India. And you don't even know what's going on in the studio. Like I'm getting distracted. But no, I think this is a big thing, and this is something that people have to watch out for because Billy Corgan ran a successful indie promotion.
Right, and he did very well with TNA.
He did. He did.
And a lot of people like
Do you think he's just trying to pull them all together? And if you pull them all together and you got some sort of money, some sort of backing.
Yes.
Now think what I'm saying. You own that talent almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You pull them all together. Okay, I'm going to be on NWA. You work for me. Like if he came in all of a sudden and goes, I bought ROH also. I'm just using that as an example.
Right.
I need that talent. It's his.
Right.
They'll come work for him. He could come out as number 2 then if he has the financial. We all know wrestling promotions, when you used to do promotion, any kind of show was all about how much money you had
Yes.
to make that show. If he has the money and people are willing to invest, there you go. Pull everything together, take the top 30 stars, use other guys for the indie shows or whatever you want to call them at this point, and he's number 2 now.
Well, I think that's what his goal was when he tried
Yeah.
to buy TNA. Try to be number 2.
Try
I
to be
think
number 2.
And you know,
I mean, technically they were
right?
because there
There was
wasn't.
nothing else out.
But it was such a far number 2.
Yes.
You know.
What does number 2 work for? It's very,
Yeah,
it was shit.
yeah.
And I hate to say, when you watch TNA, at times Ring of Honor was better than TNA.
Right.
Ring of
Yeah.
Honor was putting together the better 1 hour show than any 3 hours of
Yes.
Raw and any 2 hours of TNA. It was.
And
Not
Ring of
anymore,
Honor,
though.
I would think Ring of Honor is more in tune with the quote-unquote old school NWA because they have working
Yes.
relationships with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Again, they only have 1 hour shows, so you can go to a TV taping for ROH, be there for 3 hours, be entertained because they're taping 3 shows back to back to back.
Yeah.
And you'll get a main event caliber match on each show, so you'll see the big names, but they won't wrestle 5 times in one night.
The only
like they
thing
did
is,
back
though,
then.
They
now,
also-
though, is the ROH lost a lot of key talent.
They lost a lot of key talent, but their problem is
they're
also
getting key talent.
they're
though.
getting, but they're doing the same thing as back to old territories. You know that.
Yeah.
Favoritism. You got some guys on their roster that can work. They're not getting that push because they're not the friend of the friend.
Yes, yes.
And that's one thing that wrestling always, people used to say, talk when we had our little promotion, this and that. I didn't care who you were. You know, they say this, that. Half the guys that were my boys were doing the jobs. So we didn't care. We were just try to put people in the seats.
Ain't that the
But-
truth? I couldn't get a match.
You're a better cameraman.
Behind the camera.
Yo,
he wasn't good in front of the camera.
we had the 2 ugliest cameramen I ever seen. Remember, was it Jason and Dan? 2 ugliest dudes you ever want to meet, but we're not going to talk about that. But
No, let's stay on that for a minute.
but like I said,
I got so many assignments for everybody.
I'll see you guys next month.
Well, Jason deleted me off of Facebook so we can talk all the shit we want on him.
so but when you sit there and you're trying to put that thing together, I see that's what he's doing. If you think,
Yes.
if you have money, you know, guys, I hate to say it, guys still work for $50 in a plane ticket or $50 in a tank
$50
of
in a plane
gas.
ticket, $20 in a hot dog.
And
cup.
you understand what I mean? To try to get ahead, and I hate to say that.
You guys got
That's
paid?
that is just.
I never got paid.
Danny paid to wrestle.
Nobody paid me.
Wait,
They didn't pay me to
special
film.
attraction.
I didn't get paid to film. I didn't get paid to wrestle.
Danny still owes you money.
Yeah, right.
but what I'm trying, you guys are
Please
so wrong.
remit.
But what I'm trying to say is, you know, that whole thing, it's a shame that that's how the business is, you know. But if he can do it, more power to him.
Right. I'm
More
supporting him.
power to him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll take anybody who's going to take these. See, right now, a lot of indies, a lot of guys used to come out at indies. WWE now, sometimes they're making these guys. They're not wrestlers. They didn't pay their dues.
Right.
You got a lot of guys that did, don't get me wrong. You got some of these guys that went to the WWE training. They
Yeah,
tried out.
yeah.
They were an actor. Bullshit. You're not a worker until you were on the road setting up a ring, wrestling, and breaking.
Honestly, because
I
you're talking
could-
about the same caliber guy could be on Big Brother,
You got a bunch of guys coming
right?
out there
And
now,
not to talk, because what's his name from Big Brother? What's his name?
Miz.
Mr. Pectacular.
But Miz was on.
was it
he?
Big Brother?
No,
he
Miz
was
on
Tough
Real
Enough.
World.
Oh,
or whatever.
no, Real World. That's
Real
it.
World.
That's
But
Yeah.
Mr. Pectacular, what's his name? Jesse Goddard. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
on. He's actually good. He's a good worker in the ring. I haven't
Look,
seen him in forever, but
if
yeah.
you work at it, you can say that.
Yes.
But if you're a worker, you paid your dues. You're at the Monster Factory.
You never
Right.
You're at who else everyone used to go to? I hate to say it, but you had Combat Zone.
Yes.
You had the training facilities,
Combat Zone,
PW, all these guys.
yeah.
ACPW.
Yeah.
ACPW.
You guys are wrong. But those are the guys that were workers.
Yes.
You know?
Your job is to show up. You set up the ring. You do your job. I was a main eventer, and I had a heavyweight title. I set the ring up. I was there at 2:00 in the afternoon every Saturday that we wrestled. Set the ring up.
Yeah, but you didn't have a job.
Do a 45-minute match, and then take the ring down, and then do an after party after that.
I worked all day. I went to the show, didn't get a match, and I said, "Fuck this, I'm out of here."
And he paid.
And I paid. You made me buy a
And I got
ticket.
paid.
I said, "I swear to God, I work here."
But I mean,
Look at my tights.
To respectfully disagree with Charles for a second, I think what you said was true a few years ago, but I will also say that right now, WWE NXT especially
Right.
has a relationship with Dragon Gate USA. Who else?
Now,
Other guys.
now.
Now they do. Yeah,
Now
right.
Yes.
they do.
So,
now.
so I think Triple H sees the talent from the independent scene, wants to groom them into WWE performers. So they have a full, NXT is not minor league. We made that establishment very clear. They made that
Although
establishment very
they
clear.
still treat it as such.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You know,
They are prime
you know what?
time,
I
big
almost
time.
said no until I saw. I was watching NXT, and it was Bobby Roode's last match, and he's like, "I got called up to SmackDown." Now you're just saying that you're in the minor league.
No,
No,
what you're
no, no,
saying
no,
is
no,
you're going to go from a 500 seat arena to a 15,000 seat arena.
Still,
so yeah,
still
no.
talking shit.
No, it's not.
No. I can see where Dan's going with that.
Yeah.
But you know what? The thing with Triple H, he personally to me should be running the whole shebang.
Well, I hope one day he does. Yeah.
The reason being, he does see. Look, you got the Bobby Roodes came, Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's been in the business forever. He came. He can work. He's a
deserves his spot. He
fantastic.
works
How
He
hesitant
deserves
were
it.
they to get these guys though? Originally, though,
I
You were
think
saying before,
I
like,
think
they
it's
didn't
because
want anybody.
of, like I said, Triple H.
Yes.
I don't think Vince would have did it.
Oh,
No.
Triple H got Bruno back.
Yeah.
He brought
Triple
wrestling.
H?
Yeah.
It's not the models and the look at
No, it's the
You got
wrestlers.
Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, by the way, fat ass.
Kevin
He's bringing
Owens!
The fat asses.
Point that to Dan.
Yeah.
He's giving the fat asses a chance,
Yes. And
Yes.
but you know what? He
He
can work.
dresses just.
and he can work his balls off. And he's
Samoa
worked his
Joe-
balls off for the last 15
Dude,
years. I
Samoa
remember seeing
Joe's a
Kevin
big
Owens
dude.
in 2000 going to CZW when I was a little kid before I even thought about being in wrestling, and the fucking dude was good.
What was he talking about?
Talk about Kevin Owens.
Kevin
We got
by the way.
Kevin Owens. Okay.
You know what, Dan? I'm
I
not
don't like
gonna
Kevin
start with
Owens. I just
This
don't-
is not
But
the-
I will tell you this though. I mean,
Hold on,
Kevin
wait,
Owens.
I just want to say one thing. Cut you off. You don't like him. He just did something with Vince on SmackDown. Am I correct?
Yeah, and who else
Okay.
would be in the ring with
And
Vince?
Vince, and
at the
Vince,
stage?
Vince, like gigged the hard way.
Uh-huh.
You know,
He did.
don't.
Yeah.
He don't trust people to do that. Okay.
Yo.
Kevin Owens has been around long enough that I can sit there and say, you know what, that man's a worker.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
paid his
Fuck
dues.
yo, invite.
This, and everything.
I just don't
But
like him.
I don't know why. You know what?
I just don't like him. I
Who
don't
did-
think he was a universal champion material. I think he's good on the mic. I think he, but the whole what I see nowadays, and tell me if you don't see this, is that instead of it being men doing their thing, it just seems like you have children on a playground occupying adult bodies.
Something's wrong with you.
Marty's like talking to
Marty,
himself.
are you
Rob's
gonna talk to
talking
this? No, we're doing
you,
this.
little
Tell little Rob to shut up. We ain't gonna talk to him. But just sitting there talking all this, but all right, a Universal Champion.
Yes.
You cannot go. All right,
Man.
everyone's like Finn
Man,
Balor.
Finn.
I love Finn.
Finn-
Marty, turn around.
See, I think Finn
Marty.
was the.
Yes.
Turn around. Okay, I love Finn Balor. His gimmick is great when he does the whole demon.
Marty,
It's
when he
great.
was
Am I
Prince
correct?
Marty,
Am I
turn
correct?
around.
That's great.
Awesome.
But you can't have him all of a sudden. You can go from Brock Lesnar to Finn Balor. You can't do it.
Well, see, I think they were changing that direction last year at SummerSlam, having the Rollins
Yes.
Balor
Yeah.
feud,
Yeah.
and they were going to go lighter weight, more athletic. And then when he got hurt, they kind of just
But
went
you
back
still
to what they were
can't
used to.
look. You can't do it when if you're going to bring up a Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's legitimately 285, maybe 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got Brock. You got Reigns is a big boy. He's over 260.
Right.
Okay, I love Finn. I think he has one of the best gimmicks when he comes out. If you ever notice now, wrestling's all about the entrance. I'm sorry, I've never seen anything like the
They
first
cut
person.
money, though. They cut money on the.
Yeah.
on
The person who started that.
I don't know if you ever remember like Prince Devat, who Finn Balor was. Did you ever see his Freddy Krueger entrance?
Yes, yes,
Wow.
yes. The person that made the whole entrance, part of their whole show, and I hate it because I really don't like the guy personally. But the Sandman had that entrance, and that's just how it was. The longer entrance that we were talking about the previous show, filling time. Shinsuke Nakamura, that damn thing's 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
You know?
Yes.
Bray Wyatt, that's 10 minutes.
Yes.
But it's glorious.
Yeah, glorious. Look at
Oh,
Glorious.
you know what though? I love Glorious though. That's such a great
See, here we go. Here we
And
go.
I like Bobby Roode.
We're talking State of the Union, so we're not off topic.
Yes,
We're
right.
right.
I know. Yeah, I'm
Well,
sorry.
we're going to get back on topic. We're going
We
to take
are on topic.
we're going to take a break.
We
We're
are
going
on
to take a
topic,
break. Tell Marty to stop swatting
Oh my
at
God.
beef
Marty, are
detector.
you
You got
gotta-
kids watching this, Marty.
I'm sorry.
All right, we're taking a break, so we're gonna be back in just a few moments, and we're gonna talk more about the state of the wrestling union right here on That Way Cool Wrestling Show.
Since 1974, Cannon Entertainment has been serving the tri-state area, providing professional musical entertainment to thousands of our customers. Cannon Entertainment doesn't just play music, we are professional musical entertainers. We have personality, talent, and each DJ has a minimum of 7 years experience. We are especially trained for events like the one you're planning. We will customize your event to make it everything you want, and we'll give you our many years of experience to make it even more. Don't gamble with your affair. Be sure to choose the best. Cannon Entertainment. Check us out on the web at cannonentertainment.com. Call us now.
That's right. Make sure you call them at 610-449-8908. Tell Rob Cannon that you heard about That Way Cool Wrestling Show, and he'll probably do nothing for you. But just tell him that anyway, so that way he knows that we're putting these commercials on for him. Back to the show. It's That Way Cool Wrestling Show. I'm Danny J along with Charles Gregory, Mark Lindsay, and filling in for LeGrand Jackson, who's on assignment. We got Marty O'Mara in here. So we're talking about the state of wrestling union, and we were just talking about the NWA big moves that they're doing, which is they're not renewing licenses for this year, meaning that something big is definitely going to happen. It's got to be some sort of a global scenario. It's got to be something really big for a rollout, I'm assuming. And it's a smart move because he's probably cutting the fat based on what is actually under license right now for the franchisees and stuff like
Right,
that.
and it's not the end. You know, there is NWA Wildside, there is NWA Hollywood, and there's NWA Smoky Mountain that all have local TV contracts. So if he doesn't buy the licenses to those names, he can still basically go to those promoters and say, "Hey, you have TV already in your area. I want my show to be on your station."
Right.
And
But
have you guys
doesn't
be
he
part of
own?
our-
Doesn't he own them though, Tom?
You know what? I don't know the details of the contract.
Because I would
He's
think
going
that
to
they
own-
would.
He's going to
Yeah.
own the NWA moniker.
Right.
So if they're going to use that moniker, he's got to be getting something or whatever.
They
you
have
use.
to. A license has to be going through him,
Right.
because it's hard to understand. But he is now the guy.
Right.
You know, the NWA has been so franchised out so much that like nobody knows who owns anything for a long, long time. Like you're just like, oh, well, it's NWA Jersey, it's NWA Wildside, etc. And just some representative of the National Wrestling Alliance will grant you your license based on whatever you pay and etc. But now this is the buck stops there. So he has to own all of it, even the successful ones. And I would have to think that something's going to be. I don't think he'll take them off the air. I think they're probably going to be exception because they're probably putting more money out than anybody else. But it's going to be interesting to see what he says. I don't want to say that it's his fault, but I still blame him for the Grand Championship, which is like the worst championship I've ever heard of in my life. The Grand Championship in GFW.
I'm sorry, yeah.
TNA.
I didn't like that either.
It's horrible. It's still
horrible.
going, and it makes no sense for professional.
Yeah, but you're
wrestling.
saying that, but WWE did that whole Universal thing. I thought it was the worst thing ever.
Which one?
I'm sorry, the Universal Champion.
Well, the Universal Champion, the Grand Championship is under MMA rules. Though.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
It
that's true.
doesn't work.
But you know what? I actually think is I'm trying something completely different.
Yeah,
I
sometimes
get it.
Raw for all.
Yeah, I mean, but seriously. Oh wow, wow. But when you do try something different, you give it a shot. You know, you never know. Like we were talking previous shows, you never know what's going to catch on.
Right.
I hate to say it, in the wrestling business, it's so finicky.
Yes.
Some of the dumbest things. The next minute, you know, they're the biggest superstar. You know, think about. I keep hitting that. Sorry about that. That mic. When the Shield first came out,
Yeah.
did you not think this is stupid?
No, I actually liked it, but I
I
admit I was in the minority. I admit it.
I didn't. I didn't like it.
You know, but we're sitting there and I look at them. They were the biggest thing in wrestling. That they were so big they actually.
I mean,
broke
to
them
make
up.
At the time they came out, I was hoping anything
I
to
mean-
keep Rock from winning the championship from CM Punk. But
I mean,
you
to
know, I
make
was
it
wrong.
make them a
Yeah.
team is one thing, or make them a faction or whatever you want to call it, 3-man team, much like the Freebirds and stuff like that. I mean, that's cool. But just what they eventually evolved into,
Yes.
and that's what I was like. All right,
It's all about
I'm
the,
over it.
like the evolution of wrestling. You never know when watching who. I don't care. Some people.
which, by the way, the evolution of wrestling is one of the That Way Cool Wrestling Show episodes in season 1. You can go to thatwaycoolwrestlingshow.com and check out those archived episodes. Sorry, I'm sorry.
you never know what's going to be the next big thing. You got individuals there who weren't supposed to
Yes.
be as
Very true.
big. All of a sudden, they're the man now.
Mm-hmm.
Something stupid.
But you also have guys who were the man, walked away. I mean, we talked about this. I'm going to tie this all together. You're going to like this. We have a guy that a lot of us loved, AJ Styles, right?
Yes.
He's been like
Yes.
the MVP over the last year and a half of
Yes.
WWE.
Yes.
Another name, Bobby Roode,
Yes.
right? Bobby
Yes.
Roode.
Yes.
Austin Aries, okay?
Yes.
Austin Aries, I was happier than a pig in shit when he came to the WWE.
Yes.
And they gave him the chance on Raw as a broadcaster. You just knew that was going to translate to. I really thought he was money, and he walked away. He was
He walked
unhappy.
away. He walked away because
So-
you can't go from one where you are. Austin Aries was the man.
Right.
You come, you put him in. Okay, he's NXT, whatever, and now you're trying to put with cruiserweights.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I can understand where he's coming from, but he is a smaller stature. He was
Right.
no bigger than Dynamite Kid.
Right.
You know?
He outworked the whole roster.
Yeah, yeah, he could outwork the
So,
whole. He
but you know
really
what,
could.
though?
But when
Much
you
like-
come from
yeah.
being the man to that, it is a hard pill
Well,
to swallow.
you're right, it is. And let me
Yeah.
finish my
It is.
point, because Austin Aries is probably the quote unquote, I would say, biggest free agent, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have Global, you have Ring of Honor. You have guys like Ryback who aren't, they're
Doing
not
anything.
they're maybe wrestling House of Hardcore, doing shows here and
Yes.
there. If Billy Corgan gets his stuff together, there's talent out there. I don't think Johnny Nitro or whatever his name is on Impact,
Johnny
Johnny
Impact,
Impact,
yeah.
is going to
Oh,
be there
God.
long term.
Yeah.
John Morrison was always that guy
John Morrison,
Okay.
I think he's going back.
to WWE.
He's definitely going back.
That
to
would be
WWE.
great because you have a feud. You
If
have
anything,
the
getting
Miz
back
and-
on major TV, I
right.
think is going to be his
Make it
first step to get noticed again.
Miz is Shawn Michaels and John Morrison's the Marty Jannetty, but Morrison is still very good in the ring.
And he
There's
started
money
doing,
there.
He started doing that. Was it Pokor?
Parkour, yeah.
Parkour, yeah.
He's in probably the best shape I've ever seen him.
Right. So
He works great in the ring,
Things
too.
are lining up. Things are lining up maybe for next
years.
year,
Yeah.
where the NWA could really be a big thing, and I'm excited.
But
about
they
it.
have, but they have to really keep forward, and they need to things need to happen.
But
when
if
they
he
have
wants to be
happen.
the
Yeah.
number two, I watch. Oh man, Pix and Lucha Underground.
Yes.
That's something they did a different way. I love Lucha Underground.
Why didn't we talk about Lucha Underground when we talked about Glow? Because you're
Yeah.
talking about a storyline format. That
You
was
know,
a
Yes,
Yeah.
that was a
I never
storyline.
thought about that.
Yes, that
Yes.
is the Mexican version of Glow. It really, honestly,
Right.
is.
Yes.
And the thing about Lucha Underground, just real quick, is that the Spanish, the Latin drama aspect, which is like what they use for their soap operas and stuff like that, it's very, very dramatic, and that's what they equate their version of sports entertainment to. It's to the point where I'm like, we're like the guy,
you ever-
the guy had Ghost or somebody talking to him.
But no, if you ever wrestled in front of a predominantly Spanish crowd, I've done it. We were in Vineland, New Jersey. It was predominantly. I mean, we're talking about 99% Spanish, and we were wrestling young talent Spanish guys. And
Marty's conducting his own
those
show on
guys,
Facebook. By the
they
way.
take it to the point
I was
of a
asking
whole new
Joe the
level.
Caveman if he
A
remembers
whole,
talking about ladies
really
too
though.
in IHOP.
It's a whole
I hear you,
different-
Charles.
It's a whole different level.
Yes.
Marty, if you don't shut up, it's because I'm trying not to laugh. There's a whole different level
remember that story.
of the way that people take their wrestling, and even like you can go back. I don't want to go
Marty,
back.
make
but
sure you're tagging people with that.
yeah, the whole glow thing.
Oh, yeah, they got
That's
them
what it
all.
was.
Everybody's
But
in there.
like Lucha Underground to me is the number two. When you go by,
Really?
I'm sorry when you watch
You
it.
think?
To
I
me,
think ROH has to be number
no, not what I'm going by. What they have there, I love what they do. Prince Puma,
Yes.
all those dudes.
He's good.
These guys should be WWE, but they're staying put. Why? Why?
Well,
are they
because
staying
WWE does not do anything good by any mass wrestler. First off,
put? Yes, that's true. Also.
they don't do anything good by any mass wrestler at all.
They even made Rey Mysterio take his off and put it back on. Take
Right.
it off.
Yeah, I mean, just crazy. But real quick before the show ends, I want to talk about another part of the State of Wrestling Union, which is the current status of Global Force Wrestling. For those who watch or know,
Don't watch.
Impact
More like
Wrestling.
it's-
Yeah, that's going after the sheep out there.
Sheep.
Sheep. I'm going to coin that phrase. I'm going to trademark that.
Yeah.
The Global Force, which was formerly TNA, now currently owned by Anthem,
Norholm.
Anthem Sports.
Who's not going to have it much longer after he loses to the Matt and Jeff Hardy lawsuit. But go ahead.
Okay, so Anthem Sports. It's such a sheep.
Sheep? How about I don't want to waste 2 hours of my life on something that was 4 months in the can? I mean, come on.
This
is 2017. We got social media here.
In all honesty, I've been hearing 4 months in the can for 5 years, and even when it was with Dixie Carter.
TNA's peak was when Austin Aries cashed in whatever they wanted to call it. The X Division Championship.
Yes.
Gave it to Hogan. Was a big part of that too.
Yes.
The Aces and Eights. That was the peak of TNA as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
They were the number 2 promotion, and they were great.
Yeah.
And then they just never made money. They kept on losing. And then Dixie Carter.
Well,
it's all
Dixie
Dixie's
Carter. It is all Dixie's fault.
Yeah.
No, but you just say that. But when you bring in the Hogans and you bring those guys in,
That's
they take
a lot
all
of
the
money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. You take the money.
And what happened was, but just because I don't want the show's going to be running over soon. Anthem Sports, they bought it TNA from the Carters, which now at least it's a sport. They weren't a wrestling sports company, but they're a sports company.
Right. And
Anthem
they're in the
Sports.
fight-
Oh, that's right,
fight
that's right.
athletic, yeah.
They're primarily soccer and they're international sports and stuff like that. But at least they're a sports company. And the big thing about them is that with the merger of GFW with Jeff Jarrett, okay,
Spit it out, man.
going in there and getting rid of the failed TNA name
Yes.
and going with an untapped GFW name with Jeff Jarrett. Let's face it, whether you like Jeff Jarrett or not, Jeff Jarrett carries weight.
He did until he got sent home this past week.
Well, and that's what I'm getting to. Now, the big article thing is the big thing is that there was an article went out and said, "Is Anthem Sports ready to sell?" They're supposedly bleeding money. Okay, they are. The deal now all of a sudden is not complete, where Impact Wrestling is owned by Anthem Sports, but GFW name is owned by Jeff Jarrett, so that's not merged. Jeff Jarrett, quote unquote, is taking an indefinite leave of absence, and they're bleeding money right now. Is this, and then along it goes, and this gives opportunity for Vince McMahon to buy GFW, or at least at this sports organization, so they can get all the tapes of the current stars that they have, like Samoa Joe and Sting and AJ Styles and all these different ones that were out here that are now currently in WWE. So yeah, that's a nice package that's put in. But now I have to counteract that and say it conflicts a little bit because one, the first thing that Anthem Sports did when they came in is they changed the pay structure. They changed it so that you're not getting paid per appearance, you're getting paid per night. So when you were taping 3-4 shows, you were getting paid 4 times if it was 4 shows that you were taping that night, versus now you're getting paid for 1 show and you're taping 4 episodes. Okay,
More chance of injury, more chance of everything else.
right. So what they cut the money down, which is one of the reasons why the Hardys left.
Well, did they get paid on time? That's another thing, because you had last year you had like 5 months or 5 weeks out you weren't getting paid. So
Right. Well, yeah. Well, I think they are getting paid on that. There
this
hasn't
is
been
why I
any-
won't invest my time. They will not
They
be
ha-
around this time next year.
They
You heard
haven't.
it
They
here.
haven't been in. They haven't been any discussions about not being paid on time. Anthem Sports went in. They paid Billy Corrigan when he owed his money. They went through. They bailed everything out. They made multiple worldwide connections. They're on Spike in the UK.
India.
They're in
Yep.
India. They are on the Fight Network. They're on another network, Global Fight Network or something like that. I forget. So they're
Didn't they
actually,
put themselves also when I seen their
Yeah,
map?
and that
they're
was,
they're in
uh,
Sweden.
Sweden. Well, they also tried their own network.
They're
Right,
going,
$5.99 a month.
but
Which
they're trying to go untapped areas.
but
Yeah.
they're doing that, and they're making these strides. So they did change the pay structure. They're making major strides of promoting this product all over the place. They're bringing in talent from all over, which I think is fantastic because now it's an independent show that allows for independent talent you never get to see.
So what they're
on
doing,
television.
Dan, is they're making themselves more valuable for when they sell to Vince McMahon.
See, but you're saying that, and I've been hearing that kind of comment from yourself and other people for the last 5 years.
Because
you
they're
did-
garbage. They've been garbage for 5 years.
Yeah, plus-
Right, but they
plus-
haven't been sold for 5 years.
But Dan, you sit there and say that Vince is $1 billion man.
If he wanted to
Okay.
buy, he could have bought it years
but,
ago.
Yeah, but
He's gonna buy it on the cheap like he did WCW.
That's
he bought
where I'm
WCW
going.
for like $1 million.
yeah. I'm gonna go. I'm at the. Oh my
Yeah.
God! I just said I'm at the with Mark.
Thank you.
I think
I'm impressed.
somebody called-
exclusive.
Somebody called
I'm
911.
marking out over here.
I just actually agreed with Mark. Dude, I just made myself.
That
known.
way, Cool Wrestling
But
Show exclusive.
I do agree with Mark on that. That he's just waiting till he can get it the cheapest rate.
Mm-hmm.
He just waits because he can. He really can.
They're not interfering with him at all. I mean, they're not even at their level that they are now. Because I think the shows, and you and I both said it off the air, the shows have gotten a lot better.
They've gotten a lot better.
A lot better. They have pops. They're not. Before it was like being in an amphitheater and watching a play. It was quiet as a mouse. And they would do these promos, which I said, don't do the promos in the ring because your crowd doesn't react at
They didn't
all.
understand it though.
Right.
And they often did it out of order,
Right.
which
Yes,
probably didn't
yes.
help themselves
They
either.
were, which made it. I'm not say I don't understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
Right. Now they're popping. They're popping left and right. It almost sounds like worldwide wrestling. You know, like they're just popping for everything. Their boos are heavy boos. Their hoorays are major pops. And it's like, wow, this is really good. And then you're getting to see people like I really like those guys from Monster Factory. It's Falaba and the other guy, I forget what his
Don't look at me. I don't watch this garbage.
but fantastic. He's goofy looking as hell, but I'm going to coin a phrase from LeGrand since he's on assignment. Harkens back to the old NWA. They got Congo Kong.
Oh my God! Yes.
He's an odd looking character.
I'm just. I
But
am
man, he
glad they
can
have
move.
Terrell back.
Yes, he can move.
Yes,
Yes.
Taryn Terrell is back.
Thank
oh,
you,
God
Taryn.
bless her. She's back. They had this new girl,
Amen.
Valkyrie. She's from. She wrestled in California and in Mexico.
Who's the one who just got their shoulders separated?
That was
I'm lost for
the
words right now.
the one with the face paint.
Yeah.
I want to say Annabelle. It's not Annabelle.
No, Annabelle's.
It's
Rosemary.
Rosemary. Thank you. Yeah.
It's okay. I watched Triple Mania. It's okay.
But I actually see.
But my point is that
she's not going to be there long.
my point is that they have this thing, and I said, could this be a grass marketing ploy to get people to watch this show? Because what happens is you have the America's team, which is MMA,
Yeah.
fighting backstage with Jeff Jarrett and crew.
Which was great.
Okay, yeah, and
That was great.
It looks really cool, and it's creating this buzz with Bobby Lashley and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then you have the AAA Mania thing. They were down there, and he's fighting with La Parka, and the guy's down there.
But you're saying
Backstage.
that. What is the difference between the four horsewomen with
Yeah,
on what's the name of it? What's the name?
Rousey.
Yeah, with the whole Ronda Rousey thing.
Right.
It's really the same thing, just on a different level.
Planning Steve,
Yeah,
and she's
it's-
coming in.
yes.
Right, but
It's the
my
same
but
thing.
my point is they fight with La Parka down there, and they're everything seems that there's a problem. There's a problem backstage, right? So it says to me that GFW is causing waves. Okay, if you got to read between the lines, GFW is causing waves, and everybody's feeling threatened that they need to fight with Jeff Jarrett. If everything was so hunky dory and everything was fine, there wouldn't be any backstage fights or anything like that. So, is it something where it's like, oh well, they're creating all this drama, and now they're saying that they might sell, and Jeff Jarrett's leaving and stuff like that, because WWE has an opportunity to get all this great footage of the talent that they have there now. If you're a wrestling sheep and you don't watch anything else but WWE, which is what a sheep is, then it now says,
Mark.
oh, well, I want to go see Mark.
Mark.
I watch Ring of Honor.
I want to see. I want to see.
I watch NXT.
You know, let me check out this show because let me check out this stuff. I'll look up Amped. I'll look up so I can see old Bobby Roode footage because Bobby Roode is what was he before he was glorious? Let me see AJ Styles that yeah, he's cool here, but what was he like before? That they give, you know what I mean? And it's creating a buzz for people to move over there, not to move over there permanently, but to check it out and then potentially start liking the product. You see what I'm saying?
For Vince McMahon to capitalize on it.
It can work in a different way. We ran really long today. We had a lot to say.
Well,
today.
the State of the Union is a big deal, and
It's
I
a
think
big
that
deal.
is a topic
It
because
really is a big deal.
and we have varying opinions on it.
Yeah, so you guys check it out. If anything, wrestling is wrestling. We're gonna be going now for Charles Gemini Gregory, Mad Mark Lindsay,
See ya.
and the Facebook,
Live Marty Corpse.
Marty Corpse O'Mara.
My own fun.
He's having his own fun over there. He's not even participating in the show.
That's called 8 concussions, people. Just so you know.
8 concussions.
8. All right.
All right, wrestling hurts.
Wrestling hurts.
Check us out on ThatWayCoolWrestlingShow.com as well as on Facebook at That Way Cool Wrestling Show. Check out the show on SoundCloud as well. Until next time, we'll see you at the matches. Goodbye, everybody. Matches. Goodbye, everybody.
Proceeding was produced by DJB Productions. Go to www.thatwaycoolwrestlingshow.com.